I grew up in the 1960s and 70s. Let's see who we got here. We got this guy. He's not feeling too good because of his allergies. But he's still all right. He makes it. And we got her here. All right, there we go. So we're talking about, now you can see everything. So the 1960s and 70s I grew up in. There we go. What was it like? I remember it was great. To me, it was great. Graduated kindergarten in 1968, or was it 69? I was in kindergarten in 1968. What did we do when we grew up? Oh, back then, what did we do? What kind of sports did we play? How did people in the neighborhood get along? I lived in a small row home street. Row homes, thin row homes. Seemed bigger to me back then. And we had a church and a churchyard, and behind that was a cemetery, and we went to that church. It was a Baptist church. I loved it. We had Sunday school and the Sunday service in the bigger room, the main place. Sunday school teachers were great. And all we had to do was walk across the street. That's where it was. Yeah, we're like the fourth house on the block. The first house on the block, I'll just call him Mr. D. Old Mr. D, he had garage doors there. We played dodgeball off his doors. Man, that would get loud too. We didn't consider that, you know. So we played off of his big garage doors. It wasn't attached to his house, but it was 20 feet away. So we slammed dodgeball, run back and forth in front of the garage doors. So we played dodgeball. And in the church parking lot, we played softball, hardball, and we sometimes would hit Mr. D's garage door. And I think once we hit a window. And yeah, so we played dodgeball in the church parking lot. We played touch football in the parking lot. Wow, we played touch football and it was concrete, like blacktop gravel. It was gray. It wasn't blacktop then. It was some kind of a street coating. And we played touch football there. Softball, hardball. First base was right at the church door. Right at the Sunday school church side door. And then behind the main church building, it was all connected though, where they had the big sermons, out on the grass we played tackle football and frisbee. Tackle football and frisbee. And across the street we had the deli with our basic foods, milk, eggs, deli. And then we had a little store, a little candy shop up there. You can get candy for a penny, 3 cents, 7 cents. Oh yeah. The guy that ran the store was a little Italian guy, about 5'2", and he wore this white apron, and he had these grabbers. He would grab us with these picture things. Jimmy, where to get you, Jimmy? No, Gussie. Yeah, that was his name if you heard it. Anyway, so, yeah. Uh-oh, these allergies. Come on, man. Let me finish the show. So, and then behind the church we had the cemetery. And in the cemetery we played army. We'd jump around. Yeah. Cemetery was hardly used until someone would die. And then, yeah, really. It had a gravel parking lot that went all the way around like a U, and then it had one trail leading to the back. So we ran around, played army, and at this one point was this big cedar tree, a cedar pine. not the long needles, cedar pine. It was about 60 feet up or so. And me and this girl climbed up there. She was what we called back then a tomboy. She was actually my neighbor, too. And we climbed up that tree like we always just climb up there. We get to the top where it would narrow, and then the wind would just blow it a little bit like that. So we're both up there near the top. We're holding on top, and we never saw this before. Somebody came to visit the grave right to the right of the tree. They drove up in their car. We're like, oh crap, what do we do? We gotta hang on. We're hanging on in the top of the thinnest part of the tree, waiting for them to leave. It must have took 20, 30 minutes for those people to leave the grave site. And we're trying not to have the tree bend because it was like swaying and we're both up there. So, yeah. So we played Army back there. And then at the back of the cemetery, there was a set of woods that led down to another street we crossed, which would lead to the main creek. There's a major creek, too. And loads of woods down there. Then we would, for a brief time, where that woods met before it went to the creek, they were digging out for making a new house down there, this construction. And it took a couple of years. So they dug the whole side of the woods out, and it made this steep wall with all kinds of roots and things. And we would dig in there and put our G.I. Joe Army guys in there. And the G.I. Joes and the little Army guys, we'd make little holes and crevices and caves. And then we would take rubber bands, and that would be our weapon. We would shoot each other's guys because we knew the other guys were cheating. Yeah, I shot your guy. No. No, we took rubber bands. Oh, yeah. Rubber band, and we made a slingshot with a half of a taffy stick. Bend the taffy stick in half, and we'd shoot the rubber band and take the taffy stick, or we'd just shoot the rubber bands off our thumb. Boom, boom, boom. And you'd knock your guys down, they'd fall off like the 10-foot ledges. And yeah. So then we'd go fishing down in the woods. I was the main kid that went fishing. There might be one or two other guys who fished me occasion, but mainly I roamed the whole creek back and forth for miles. Fish up one side, down the other, then I'd go downstream on another day and come back up to here. And what else? In between the churchyard, across the street, there was an apartment building with a driveway that separated the churchyard wall and the apartment wall. That's where that driveway went, right between the back of the apartments. We played wall ball off of there, wiffle ball, and stick ball, and half ball. That's when you use like a half a tennis ball. That was weird. Half ball. And but then, yeah, we played wiffle ball, half ball, with stick ball, and wall ball. And the wall ball, to make it really hard. Oh, we played this little game. Little game. Boom, we hit against the wall. It was called chink or something. I don't know why it was called that, so don't get disturbed. But that's when we had to stay real close and tap it. You only allowed so many bounces and tap it. It was like mini wall ball. And then we played the bigger wall ball in between the apartment driveway up on the church parking lot. We would throw it over the fence, hit the apartment wall, and come back. And then we'd run. We have to catch it and jump before the other guy gets it. And then you throw it, and then the other guy's got to run and catch it. And you jump out, dodge them. Then you get to throw it, and everybody else goes away. Bam! Wall ball. That was a lot of fun. So then some of the neighbors would call the police on us because they lived on that wall in the apartment. So they'd hear this boom, boom all the time. And then the same apartments out front had grass with a little hill. That's where we all used to wrestle. All the neighborhood kids would wrestle on the friends of the same age. Wrestle on the apartment's hill. Well, we wore the grass off. We wrestled so much, we wore the grass off the hill. It was all bald. And then this one, it was an old lady. She lived in the first lowest one. So her window's right up there. She's got to see us running around, and she would call the cops on us. She would be the one that called cops on us. and she had this, I think it was a Persian cat. It was a gray thing. It was just really, really just hardly would move. Anyway, look this way. Don't be like the Persian cat. Give them some attention. So, yeah, we played all the sports. Like I said, we played Army, back to cemetery. And Frisbee. Touch football on the concrete. Oh, then the main street itself, which was only about 15 feet wide, enough to drive down and park your car on one side. We roller skated and we drew the chalk lines in the street. We roller skated right out front. And we played hockey, street hockey, in front of the fire hydrant. We would set up in front of the fire hydrant area under the street light and play even in the dark. And then the water ice truck would come right there too. The water ice truck would come around 8:30, 8:45 on summer nights. And that water ice traveled through the whole neighborhood. All the streets knew that one truck. Maroney's. It was called Maroney's. Maroney's Water Ice. It's owned by an Italian family. And what kind of religion did we have on our street? We had Catholics, a lot of Catholics on one side. We had Germans, Irish, and we had some people that didn't go to church. We were Baptists. We were basic fundamental Baptists at the time. Later on, I became an independent fundamental Baptist. We started our own church because the pastor at the church died that everybody loved, that guy. So a couple families got together. Ours was one of them, and we started a brand new church with just, it's been about 5 families. Pastor's family, a relative of theirs family, us, and another family from the church, and then another one that lived up the street. Yeah, about 5 families started this church. I guess we only had 30 people in it, something like that. And we were going to save. Eventually, within that year, I became a soul winner, I thought. I knocked on doors all around the town. Me and 2 other ladies and the pastor. We were going to save 2 cities. 2 cities. We were the Independent Fundamental Baptists. I was about as fun as a prickly cactus. And I could never relax because I was always busy trying to save people's souls. Yeah. What do you think about that? Like, glad you didn't have to. But anyway, it's all part of what you got there. It's all part of the process of life and experiencing. What else? Oh, let's talk about school. We lived right near a school. A block away, like on an angle. Whoop. Across the street, school. So at that time, and I see the news media talks about all kinds of racism and stuff like that. The news media has completely messed up society's heads. So back then, we had different kids coming into the school from different parts of Philadelphia City School. They sent kids up, and Mayor Rizzo was at the time. This was Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. So Mayor Rizzo was the mayor at that time, Frank Rizzo. So I remember, and there was another, was there Wilson Good was there too at one time? Yes, Wilson Good. I don't know how good he was. I remember that name. And so they were sending, segregation was happening at that time. This was the early 70s now. The early 70s, it was segregation. So they're bringing about 6 or 8 kids up from, I call them black, I guess, okay? I don't know what to call people anymore because everybody's offended. So they brought these kids up. It was called the Kinsey School. And we were told to treat them real nice, which we did. Okay, be really nice. The kids from the Kinsey School, they're sending some kids up. They're gonna go to our school now. It's part of the segregation program. However it worked. They came up, so did he call them black kids, okay? Since they call me white. I never called myself white until I was told I was white. But anyways, the black kids up. And he said, be nice to them, make them feel comfortable. Automatically, we did. So, I became friends with some of them. Probably half of them. That sounds about 8 of them. Kevin Threadgill, Deke. Deke was strong, man. Man, he out wrestled me. I remember Deke. Deke, Kevin Threadgill, what else? There was a few girls. I don't remember their names. Anyway, and then Herbert. Herbert, he had a problem. He wasn't in my class. He was in another class. That kid runs so fast, and he looked like he had a amalgam haircut with the glasses. Okay, that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. That kid could run so fast. I don't know if it was because of his flat haircut or what, man. But anyway, the kids used to tease him. This little kid used to protect this black kid from the other kids, white kids, call them white kids, corkies, whatever. They chased this kid around because they teased him because he had some kind of a metal thing. Otherwise, the kid was quick. But we had these little things in the school. They're like little vestibule things. They'd cut back, and then their windows in the classrooms go around. So we used to make them like little hangouts or little prisons and things like that. And then we used to play girls chase the boys and girls chase the boys, and then you'd catch each other and put you in the thing, you know. And they'd never pick me because I wasn't cute enough and I was too short. But anyway, yeah, the certain guys, what was that kid's name? He had the perfectly curly hair that just came up like that, and he was tall. They always would catch him and put him in the thing there, and then you gotta, never mind, all that kind of stuff, So we played those games, and this little festival. Then we had the monkey bars. Then we had kickball with Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul said, "Without discipline, you ain't got nothing." That's what he said, and he was right. Neat thing about him was he was different than all the other teachers. If you finished all your stuff that he gave you, you go out and play. He'll take you out and play basketball, shoot some hoops, then we go back. He made his own recess for us, no joke. And the other teachers would try to get him in trouble because he was going against the rules. But he was being real. So, yeah, Mr. Paul. And he let us play basketball. And then at that time, we had, remember we had a couple riots that came by. Some gang, there was a lot of gang riots back in the late 60s and early 70s. There was gangs in the neighborhood. Certain streets had gangs. I remember that. They all had these goofy names. Weird names. Anyway, you're afraid of anybody who's in a gang. Oh, and then one time, the Yard Boys gang. I guess that was their name. So they're part of the gang at this school. And I remember, and I didn't even know what I did wrong. I was in there with my jacket. I had my checkered red and black jacket hand-me-down because probably 80% of my clothes were hand-me-downs because I was a privileged white kid. So 80% of my clothes were hand-me-downs from my cousin Dave, who lived away in northeast Philadelphia. So I got this red and black checkered jacket, and I went to school, and for some reason, the whole gang, the Yard Boys, about 20 of them surrounded me. After school, it was after school, or at lunchtime. They surrounded me, and this one kid, I knew who the kid was. I knew he was part of this gang club. And he grabbed me by my jacket and said something. And he swung me around by the jacket, and I'm trying to get away, and all the other kids are circling around me, laughing, and they're saying, "Get him." And I'm like 9 years old, and I didn't even know why this kid is after me, swinging around, grabbing. I escaped, ran out from the pack. I ran so fast across out the schoolyard, home because I was only a block away, crying. I know I had to go back to school the next day. So I told my parents what happened. I don't know. Well, go ask them what you did. Ask them what I did, was one of the. What am I going to say? Anyway, I see the kid in line. And remember, this is a kid that doesn't care. He didn't care about school, homework, nothing. Just one of them kids. I get in line and I see him there in one of the long lines. We always just stand in line with the bell. And I said, what did you do that? Did I do something wrong? He said, "Oh, I'm standing in line." He's right near me. And he said, "You did it again." I said, "Did what?" "Cut in front of me." He didn't even like school. What, we were standing casually in a line and somehow I accidentally cut in front of him. What the hell is wrong with these people? He's offended I was cut in front of the line. The kid didn't even like school. Did he really want to get there ahead of me? So anyway, one of the things when you don't even know when you offend somebody and they get all whacked out about it. That's what that was. And it never bothered me after that. I don't know why. Yeah. So, what else? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The other thing was, so we had all the segregation in the school. I guess we had about 8 black kids. They came from the Kinsey school. And, well, I made friends with them. There's one Indian kid. His name was Maz. So there's one Indian kid from India. I don't know what part. So Maz came over to our house. Kevin came over. Deke came over. Oh, what was the other? Oh, yeah, Walker. Walker came over. So I get these black kids and Indian kid coming over to this kid's house, and my little mom made them all sandwiches anytime they came over. Peanut butter and jelly, tuna fish sandwiches, and we were poor. It didn't matter. I got Christian parents. They did what they believed. These kids are my friends. Come on over to school at lunchtime. That's what we did. So I don't know what if my grandparents look back at society now. My parents would pray right for all the kids right there. When we gave them the food, pray for everybody. Pray for the kids. And if my grandparents, or even people that died 10 years ago, my lady's mom, if she would see what the world was like, especially since all that the COVID crap, all the stuff, and all the rules and changes, they wouldn't even believe it. They wouldn't believe it if I could bring them back and talk to them and say, "Do you know what the world's like now? Do you know statues and everything got knocked over?" I could go on and on. They wouldn't even know it was this world. Did you know that borders are left open so that people can come over, and they're making it so that people can get things that other people here can't get that easily, etc., etc. So I thank my parents for the way they brought me up, and other relatives that were good to me, friends, people on YouTube, and I was able to express myself a lot here. I learn a lot. We learn a lot. Show and tell for adults, but we learn, don't we? Anyway, yeah, that's just a little bit. So I like the 60s and the 70s, and if I was on the porch back when my grandparents had a porch and said, "Guess what it's going to be like in 50 years?" They wouldn't believe it. They wouldn't believe it. All right. Well, anyway, thank you.